Welcome to my channel. This is JC Rock and Metal Reviews. My name is John, and this weekend there were a lot of albums celebrating anniversaries, and I usually do like one video for each, but if I had done that I would have taken a lot of time and basically taken the entire weekend. So I decided to do something different. I'm going to put them all in one video. This way, this weekend I can focus on new releases, and then the next week I could just talk about other topics. I'll do different rankings and lists and things like that. So before I begin, if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. I do rock and metal reviews, rankings, and more. So I'm going to talk about 5 albums in this video. I will go through them pretty quick, and I will divide this video into chapters. So if you open up the video description, you can see different timestamps. So if you would like to skip ahead and watch a different one, or watch them as you wish, you can do it that way. So the first album I want to talk about is Turnstiles by Billy Joel. And so when you think of Billy Joel, most people think of albums like The Stranger or 52nd Street or Piano Man, but this album was released on May 19th, 1976. It is celebrating its 45th anniversary. This is an album you don't hear about too much, but it does have a lot of classics on it. One of the big hits is called Say Goodbye to Hollywood, and this is a pretty cool piano-based rock song. Billy Joel wrote this song after leaving Los Angeles in 1975 to move back to New York, and this song became a lot more popular on the live album Songs on the Attic. Now the next hit is called New York State of Mind, and this is a piano ballad about the big city. This is one of his classics. And what my favorite song on the album is called Prelude, Angry Young Man. And this is a very different type of song. If you heard this on the radio, you probably wouldn't think it was Billy Joel at first. It sounds like a very piano-based, progressive rock song. It has a very long instrumental intro. It's very epic sounding, and not the typical Billy Joel song. He plays very fast, and just a lot of time changes. Definitely recommend giving that one a listen. The next album I want to talk about is Agents of Fortune by Blue Oyster Cult, and this was released on May 21st, 1976. It is celebrating its 45th anniversary. So for those of you who watch my channel, I always mention that the year 1976 was a really big turning point for music as far as hard rock and heavy metal. There are so many albums that were very influential to the heavy metal genre, and Agents of Fortune, this is just one of those. You all know the song Don't Fear the Reaper, so this song is on there. I don't really need to talk about it too much. It was a big hit, but there are a lot of great deep cuts on the album. I really recommend the opening track, This Ain't the Summer of Love. Has some really heavy guitars, also has some piano mixed together, and it's just a really great rock song. Another good song is ETI, Extraterrestrial Intelligence. I really like the guitar tone. It's almost like a futuristic tone. It uses some different guitar pedal effects. It's a great rock song. And the other song I like is The Revenge of Vera Gemini. It starts out with a woman talking, but this one has a really nice groove to it. Has some really cool bass and keyboards in the song, and this one has a little more of a psychedelic rock edge. The next album I want to talk about is Down on the Upside by Soundgarden, and this was released on May 21st, 1996. It's celebrating its 25th anniversary, and 1996 was another turning point for music, mostly heavy music. Now, all these metal bands, a lot of them, they cut their hair and they change their sound to a more alternative rock sound, most notably Metallica with their album Load. A lot of fans don't like this album, but for me it is one of my personal favorites. I used to listen to this cassette on my Sony Walkman while riding through the New York City subway. I was living in New York City at the time, and I really love this album. It has a rock sound, a lot more acoustic guitars. There are a lot of songs with a punk rock influence, and others with a 60s psychedelic rock influence. My favorite song, and probably one of my favorite Soundgarden songs, is called Blow Up the Outside World. It's just a really great ballad with a psychedelic feel. I like the album Closer. It's called Boot Camp, and this is another psychedelic song. Reminds me a lot of like Tomorrow Never Knows by the Beatles. This is a long album, over an hour, but then again, like most Soundgarden albums were fairly long. The next album I want to talk about is Gish by the Smashing Pumpkins, and this is their debut album, released on May 28th, 1991. It is celebrating its 30th anniversary. This has a very like a grungy sound, straightforward alternative rock. Sounds similar to their breakout album, Siamese Dream. Some people say this album is even like better than that one. The album opens with I Am One. Really great drum and bass intro. The guitar tones, very distorted and noisy. Has a very classic grunge sound. Can be compared to like those early like Nirvana albums. Billy Corgan's vocals do sound the same as they do on every other album like throughout his career. The next song is called Siva, and this one has some really grungy guitars. Really great like punk rock vibe to it, and the lead guitar playing does have a very like a psychedelic rock sound. And another great song is called Rhinoceros, and this is it's a slow, it's like a very psychedelic rock song. And this one uses their signature like clean guitar tone. Billy Corgan uses more of like a whispery vocal style, and these styles you hear like on subsequent songs on other albums. This song has a very dreamy atmosphere. It almost makes you feel like you're floating as you listen to it. This is a really underrated album, and like I said before, some even think it is a little better than Siamese Dream. And the last album I want to talk about is Every Picture Tells a Story by Rod Stewart. This was released on May 28th, 1971, and is celebrating its 50th anniversary. The most popular song is called Maggie May, and this one starts out with classical fingerpicked guitar intro. The intro, I think we didn't really hear it like on the radio like during the single, but on the album it has that intro. But it is a really great like acoustic rock song. If you listen to it again, it has a really nice bass sound. There are some keyboards like mixed in a little lower, and it's a really great song, great rock song. Another single that was released is the title track called Every Picture Tells a Story, and this was written by Rod Stewart and Ronnie Wood. So Ronnie Wood was playing on this album, but we all know Ronnie Wood, who would later be in the Rolling Stones. And this is a really great song, and really some great drumming on this album, especially this song, and on this album is Mickey Waller on drums. Another single released is I Know I'm Losing You, and this is a cover song originally recorded by The Temptations. It's a really cool bluesy guitar intro, just a great blues rock song. Has some piano playing and guitar in it. The guitar, I really like the tone in it. It's kind of like a lightly distorted tone. And this one has a really great like a drum solo like towards the end of the song. So there's a lot of good like drums. So if you're a drummer, this is a really good album for you. And just a really great album by Rod Stewart. So that's it. So like I said, I put all of the May anniversaries into one video. I want to focus on other topics, because otherwise they just basically like saturate all my time if I did them one by one. So I want to just try some more ideas, but before I do that, this weekend I will be focusing on new releases. Probably only do 2 on Saturday and Sunday for The Devil Wears Prada and Monster Magnet. So check out my in-video links, they're over there. I'll see you in the next one.